Hello campus, welcome to another chapter in our HTML course this week. I'm happy to get started on it. So this week we'll be dealing with special tags in HTML, and before I get started, I would like to take us through VS Code. So let's go ahead and open our project, the same project we have been working with since. Remember, a project in VS Code is just a folder. Now let's go ahead and open our project. We'll go to this Explore folder. If you have not already opened your folder, click this Open folder and then locate your folder. My folder is probably in desktop, ABCD. I think it's in week 1. I think we're dealing with week 1. No. I think it's ABCD project. That's the project. So click open. It's going to open your folder and show all the files right here. Now, as by default, it's always open a README file, and this is our README file. Let's go ahead and close that. We have made 7 changes. Oh yeah, we didn't really commit the last tutorial I did. Don't worry, I'm going to commit everything. Don't worry about that. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and create. I think we're still in week 1. Should we create a folder for this particular stuff? Let's not do that. Let's go to our file and get started. So tags. Let's explore some special tags in HTML. Please follow this video. Oh yeah, you're already in the video. A website is a collection of web pages. Note that. So when you go to like something like hoping we get lucky and the internet is back online, because MTN has been doing a bit uninteresting lately. So let's go to something like let's go to Jumia.com. Let's see. Okay, let's try that again. We're going to Jumia's website. I think Jumia is jumia.com.ng actually. Alright, so you can see that on jumia.com.ng we have different stuff like Jumia food. Sorry, this doesn't really describe what I want us to do. Let's see, what website can describe what I want it to do. Okay, so let's go to the CAC, the Corporate Affairs Commission website. Alright, that seems to be taking a while. Looks like our network is back, gone again. Anyway, what I wanted to show you is that when we got to this page, it brought us to the home page, which is this one, and then we click this, take us to another page, click this, take us to another page. So there are many pages that is on the website. Those pages are called web pages. Now, a collection of web pages is a website, just like you have a book. Your book probably has like 60 leaves on it. The 60 leaf notebook has 60 leaves. Each leaf is a page, and then when you bring this page together, is a book. So a collection of web pages give us what? A website. So let's go ahead and go back to our code. Each HTML file is a web page. So when I come here and you're developing and you're writing HTML, you may be wondering what these HTML files are. This HTML file is a web page. This is a web page. This is a web page. This is a web page. So a collection of all these web pages are what give us your website. So the first special tag we'll be talking about today is not actually a tag like that. It's the comments, right? You will notice I did something in our previous code, like I commented the code. Now, comments is like trying to include something in your HTML file. If you look at our image.html, or let's look at this example 1.html. Let's go ahead and open this with our browser, Firefox. So you can see that we have all of this. Let's assume you are coding and I want to tell the developer that this particular stuff is like, I want to tell the developer that this is my special code or my first code, right? I can't just write this is my first code and then go back to my stuff, and you see it's going to show it as a text, and I don't want it to show. I want it to just be a comment. I don't want it to be part of the main code. What you can do is to select it and click Ctrl/. When I say /, I mean something like this. So click it and click Ctrl/. It's going to comment it out. it will color is green to tell you that it's a comment, it's not part of the code. So when we go back to our stuff and we click refresh, it is no longer there. So that is comment. I hope you understand that. The next tag we'll be talking about is the one that makes up your website. Now every website have to have some special things in it. Everything we have been doing so far is it's just basic. I mean, it's not really a solid website like that. If I deploy this online now, it will work, but it will probably not be a standard website. Google will not be able to index it, and Google might not even accept it in the first place. So I'm going to create a folder to represent our formal website. Let's call it formal, or let's call it formals, right? And inside this folder, let's create a new file. Now let me tell you something about websites, right? You see, look at our folder structure here. Look at our folder structure. The main folder is what? ABCD project, and then we have not important week 1. Inside week 1 we have pics and we have format. Then we have this guide.png and we have the readme file. Now let me tell you something beautiful actually. To access any of these files on a website, you need to reference it by its parts. What I mean by that is, let me create a new stuff. Now, if you come here now, and if I collapse all this thing, let's say I want to reference guide.png, and I deployed my website in a domain. A domain is something like monagree.com. This is a domain. Now, when you want to deploy a website, you need to buy your domain. We're going to get into that by week 4. Yeah, week 4, I think. So let's say we want to deploy. We want to access this guy.png on our domain. All we need to do is to type monagree.com/guy.png, and it will show us that picture on our website. We'll just put this on a browser from anywhere in the world, and it will show us that picture. That's after I've deployed this website. Everything we are doing here is on our local computer. It's not yet deployed. Until we deploy it and put it in a hosting provider, nobody can access it from other places. Only people using our computer can access it. But let's say I want to access a file in week 1 called campaign.png. I can't just come here and type campaign.png the same way I type it. I need to first tell him that monagree.com/week1/campaign.png. That's how you access a file remotely. I hope you're able to understand that. Yeah. So in our formals, what if we didn't type anything, right? What if we just came to monagree.com and we didn't type anything? We didn't even tell him what file we want to go to. Now, what will it show us? Now, when you first go to a domain or a subdomain, or you go to something like monagree.com/week1, or you go to something like monagree.com/formals, and you didn't specify the file you want, assuming we have added monagree.com/week1 and we added example1.html, it will just load the web page of example1 out for us, and that's fine. That's what we wanted. But what if we didn't add example1 and we just add the folder and we didn't add the exact file we want? Now, browsers believe that whenever you don't specify the file that you want one file called index.html. It is the entry point of every website. Whenever you enter any website, the same way we enter gmail.com.ng, what it actually loaded for us was an HTML file called index.html. So whenever you visit a website, the first thing it looks for is the index.html file. If it's not available, it's just going to throw a 404 error. That is not found error. So let's go back to our week 1 and then create an index.html file for this guy. So I'm going to create a file and call it index.html. Alright, now let's go back to our stuff. We're talking about the foundational blocks. We're talking about the foundation of your website. Every website has to have some special things in them. There are some things you need to put in your website. Now, the first thing you need to put in your website is to tell the browser the kind of file he is accessing. This doctype.html, it should be the very first line of your code. It tells the browser that this is an HTML file. So go back to your code and put a slant. It will already show you doctype and HTML. So we have specified it that is an HTML file. Don't forget, this is the very first thing you include in your code when you are creating an HTML file. Doctype HTML. Now the next thing is actually very interesting. The next thing is to create an HTML tag. That is the land. Remember, you can't build a house without a land. So we need to go ahead and create an HTML tag. Because it is a standard tag, we don't need to start with this stuff. So let's just type HTML. Awesome. We have this. You see, that's already added the indentation to me. Be very careful. Make sure you don't mess up your indentation. Alright then. So the next thing we'll be doing is to examine the website. Now I want you to imagine your website is a human being. You would expect it to have a head and a body. So your website has to have a head and a body. So after the HTML tag, we go ahead and create the head tag and the body tag. So come here and type head. And come here and type body. Awesome. So we have the head tag and the body tag ready for us. Now I want to tell you something very important. Everything you put inside your head tag are just information about your website. Those informations about your website are just needed to for example, let's assume you are an architect trying to build a building for someone, and you receive, let's say a bricklayer is trying to build a building for someone, and he receives a plan of the building, like a paper telling him how to build the building. There are some things in the paper that he won't actually build into the building, like some text, some stuff like that. But those things are important also because they tell him how to build the building. So everything in the head tag just tells the browser how to build our website, how to show our website. But the things in the body are like the true building, like the bricks, the tags. So let's go back to our material. Now the head tag, okay, the HTML is the master container, the land where you build the house. The head tag is the part of the code for telling the browser how to build our website. It is not the actual website, but the body tag is where we put our website. Alright then, so I won't go ahead and show you everything that needs to be in the head tag and the body tag yet. So I'm going to do it towards the end of this chapter, but I'll go ahead and just follow the materials. So number 3, the H tag. Now like I told you, I classify tag into 3 depending on what they can do. I classify tag into container tags, I classify tag into text tag, and I classify tags into image tag. Now in text tag we have things like H tag. We already discussed this in the last chapter, so we won't talk about it. The P tags also, we have discussed it. Now number 5, I want to show you something called the hyperlink. Now let me go ahead and go to first of all, let's add an heading, right? Just to make our website look quite good. So learning chapter what now? I think it should be chapter 3 if I'm not wrong. Or maybe, I think it should be chapter 3. So let's put this and go ahead and go to the folder. So let's just delete this to access, with 1. So let's go ahead and go to, I think we're in form house. Then let's go to index.html. So learning chapter 3. So now I want to teach you the hyperlink tag, the A tag. This tag allows you to move from one web page to another web page, or from one file to another file, or one website to another website. In a building, it will be the door. So the same way you have a door in a building that allows you to move from one room to another, the hyperlink tag, the A tag, allows us to move around. This is how it is represented. It is a open and close tag, and the href property tells the A tag where we are going to. Please note that this will work for both files. This will only work if both files. What I'm trying to say here is to tell you that your current HTML file will only go to the about.html file if both files are in the same folder. I already explained to you how to move to other places like subfolders and everything you need to include the folder name first, then slash the file name. But before we go into that, let me just show you like a description. So we have created index.html. Let's create about.html. About.html. So in our about.html, we're going to increase those column things too. Don't forget the first thing, doctype.html. Then we include the HTML tag. Then we include the head. These are like the basic things you need to include in your website before you even start. Then we include the body. So let's call this about us. About us. So let's say ABCD is the coming together of awesome peoples, of awesome people, of awesome devs. So let's put it that way. Now we want to move from this index.html to this about.html. So let's say learning chapter 3. We are moving. So let's go back to the browser, refresh the page, and then we have this we are moving, which works quite fine. So now we want to such that when we click a particular text, we move to another page. Have you seen this blue text on websites before that when you click it, something will happen? That's exactly what we are about to do. So let's go ahead and create the A tag. Just type A. It will bring out everything for you. Now where are we going to? It's asking us where we are going to. Assuming we are going to about.html, but about.html is in the same folder as index.html. So we can just go ahead and type about.html there, and we can just say then we go here. You enter the description in between the open and close tag. You say go to about, and then and then that will work. So let's refresh the page. So click it, go to about. You see it has taken us from index.html to what? About.html. So if you click the back button, it will take us back to index.html, and that's cool. I hope you understand the hyperlink text now. Now let's assume we want to go from this to this example 1.html. Can you quickly guess how we will do that? So you can pause the video and guess. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. So to go to this from this former folder where we have index.html, we want to go all the way to. So let's create another A tag. So we want to go all the way to this example 1.html. I've taught you how to do that. You need to go to what? Dot, right? Dot slash example 1.html. So you're going to come here and click go to example 1, and then let's go back to our stuff. Sorry, click this, and then we click go to example 1, and it takes us to example 1.html. So let's assume we want to go to a file inside this pics folder. Let's assume we want to open this home file, right? So another hashtag. Now slash is inside the pics folder and the home. So we come here and say open home. So go back here. Let's go back to our index. Refresh. Click open home, and it opens home as a picture for us. Isn't that cool? I think that is cool. Alright then. So let's go back and come here. So I think you understand the A tag now. Next we'll be moving to let's assume we want to go to another website. We'll just type the website we are going to. So let me turn on my data just to like show you how it works. Alright then. Okay, my data is on. So let's create a button to go to Google. So let's say Google https //google.com, and then click tab to move to the next suggestion, and then go to Google, and then Control S. So you don't need to save it. Autosave is on. So let's refresh. Click go to Google, and awesome. You see, it took us to google.com. Awesome. So let's go back, and So next we are going to be dealing with the B tag, the bold tag. We use it to write a bold text. For example, if you look at this, we are moving, and we have all of these things in it. So we need to add a bold text to it. What you need to do is to type B, then enter. I say this is a bold text. So go ahead and go back to the stuff, and then we have this. You can see how bold this text is. And yeah, I want to teach you something off the books. It's not actually in our material, but let me just add it. Where should I add it? I'm going to teach you anyway, but let me just add it somewhere here. Let me call it extra. The break line tag. This is how you write it, BR. So what does the break line tag do? The break line tag helps you break a line. It's just how it sounds. It's the same way it sounds. It breaks a line for you. The reason why I had to add this is because you will notice that all our texts are staying on the same line, not going to a new line. But I don't want that to happen. I want it to break. So after I go to Google, we need to break. Let's enter this BR and this. It is a single tag, you say, and then you go all the way here and click, and it brings it to a new line. I hope you were able to get that. Yeah. So let's continue then. The bold tag, we have talked about the bold tag. Let's talk about the italics tag. So let's go back to our code and then let's come here and say, I. Then let's say this is italicized. Then let's go back to our web browser and click this. You can see this is italicized. Alright then. Okay, I think we are getting there. Okay, so let's go back to our material. The button tag. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have seen buttons on pages before, but the button we'll be designing now won't be exactly beautiful because CSS is what beautifies our code, and we have not reached CSS yet. CSS is network. So type button and enter what you want to put inside the button. Please, I am a button. So sorry. I am a button. So go back to our stuff, refresh, you can see I am a button. So when we get to JavaScript, we'll define what this button does actually. Alright then, so let's move on. The next one we'll be talking about is the input tag. I love this tag. Like seriously, I love this tag. Now I want to put all our input tag inside one div. So let's create that inside one div, just one div only. So I want to put all our input tag inside one particular container. Now look at the input tag. It's used to take input from the user. Everything we have been doing so far has been showing the user something. What if we need to take input from the user? The input tag is a single tag element. The input tag can be of many types. You should specify what type it is. Now, let's start with the first one, text. It takes text from the user. So input type is text. You see, the browser even automatically tells us that. So specify the type of the input, text. Let's go ahead and come here and refresh, and this is it. I can type inside it. But what if you want to tell the user what to type? You include a property called placeholder. So enter your name. Enter your name. So it's going to enter his name. Yeah. Alright then. So let's go ahead. Let's go to the next type of stuff, telephone. Now this input is to take telephone number from the user. I don't really want us to specify the name and the ID just yet. I think you already know what ID means. So this is the one to take in telephone number from the user. You'll be asking, well, how is it different from the input text? How is it different from the text one? Well, it's quite different, because if I tell the browser that this particular input is taking telephone, when I deploy my website and the user is trying to enter something in it, it will quickly suggest a telephone number. I mean, you have experienced it before when you're trying to fill a form online, or you're trying to log into Monagree, and your browser is already suggesting your email to you before you even type it. It's because of this property called type. The browser knows what you want. He knows it's a text, or he knows it's a telephone, or he knows it is an email, and then he's able to suggest it to you in advance. We don't want that. Alright. So it's like going to suggest the email to me in advance. Alright then, let's move to the next one. Date. Now let's create an input to take date from the user. I want to put this on a new line, so let's break the line. Now let's create an input to take date. So let's type date and go back to our browser. You can see the user can type the date he's in, or you click this icon and it will bring out the date stuff for you, and the user can like specify the date. Maybe you're trying to take the date of birth of the user. Now another interesting tag is the date time tag. Date time local, not normal date time. So come here and click. You can see it allows the user to specify the date. Usually to allow you to specify the time. So just to like show you. Also, there's something I need to tell you guys. You see, when you develop your website, you need to be very careful. Your website some things that work on Chrome might not work on other browsers. You can see this one is showing time, unlike Firefox that didn't show time. Alright, let's go back to our stuff. So I've done date, I've done email. Let's create an input to take a file from a user. I want us to break this line. So let's specify an input to take a file from a user. So let's go ahead and go to the stuff, refresh. So browse. You see, you click this browse and you select the file that you want to take. Browse, and it will bring out my files. I'm sure you guys have seen this before on the website, where you're trying to fill a form and then you need to go and like provide some kind of a file for the person, and then you upload the file. This is how it is done. Alright then. The next one is number. This input will only allow the user to enter just numbers. So let's break this line. Now let's create an input to take a number from the user. It won't allow me to type like anything that is not a number. I don't want to include the name and ID just yet. So let's go back to our stuff. Like this, you can see I'm trying to type. Sorry. Okay. Well, this allowed me to type in number. Like I said, it's different in browsers. Let's try Chrome again. You can see I'm trying to type in my name now. It's not allowing me to type it. Only numbers. Then you can increase the number and decrease the number. Alright then. So let's go back to now let's create an input to take password from user. What would you expect an input password guy to do? Of course, it's to like secretly type the password for us. Let's include a placeholder so that you guys can see it. You can see it's hiding the password for me. Alright then. Let's move on from password. Let's create an input for a checkbox. Now I want you guys to take note of this. Before we go, let's break this line. Let's break it 2 times. So let's create an input for a checkbox. So let's go back to our stuff, refresh it. You see the checkbox. That's the checkbox. Now, after the checkbox, I want us to like create one for the color, the range. After the checkbox, let's create an input for radio buttons. Now, I want you to note something. There's a difference between checkbox and radio button. I'll show you the difference now. So let's create an input. For radio, and then let's go back here, and you see thing about radio buttons is that once you click them, you can't unclick them. Unlike checkbox that are used to take a yes or no answer, radio buttons are not used to take radio no answer. They are used to select one out of many things. Note this point that I'm telling you. Checkbox can be used to take a yes or no answer. However, radio buttons are used to do what? Are used to select out of a list of things. So you don't just use one radio button. You need to put it in a group. So let's create multiple radio buttons and put them inside their own container. Let's create a div container. Let's create a div container for our radio buttons. And then let's put a lot of radio buttons inside this div. Now when I refresh, you see a number of radio buttons. However, these radio buttons, I can click all of them. But the true nature of radio buttons is that when I click one, the rest should be off. When I click this one, the rest should be off. So only one should be on at the same time. However, that's only work for radio groups. So let me create more radio buttons for example's sake. So now let's put the first 4 radio buttons in a group, right? So put a radio button in a group, define the name property, and give it a unique group name. So we're going to define the first group as G1. So do this one to G1. Put this one to G1. Put this one to G1. So that is specified. Then come here. Now you're going to see that. Alright. These two are not supposed to be checked for any reason. Interesting. So saving state. Alright, that's right. For some reason it saved the state of the last one. So you will see that the first 4 radio buttons are in a group. That means if I click one person in the group, the other should go off. You can see that. You can see this. Like when I click one, the rest just goes off. However, when I click this one, it doesn't affect it because they are not in the same group. So if I put everything in the same group, when I click one person, the rest should go off. So let's assume I put these guys in a particular group called G2, right? Just did this extra two. Okay. Alright then. So let's go back to our code. So when I click this one, the rest goes off on this group. But this new group, they are working together. Can you see? So this group, the first 4 group is the first one is in a group and the last one is in another group. Yeah, so that's how radio buttons and radio group work. Now let's move to the next one, color. Let's assume you want to take color from a user, maybe the color of a particular product that the person is buying on your e-commerce website. So let's say color and refresh. You see the color palette has shown. When a user clicks it, you'll be given option to choose color like that. And so let me show you on Chrome. So I think you guys are going to see something different. For the rest of this stuff, let's use Chrome. Alright then. So when I click the color palette is going to come up and you have all this stuff. Then you can vary which color it is, and then the user can like specify a color. Alright, let's move on. So another one is range. So range is just like I'm sure you guys have seen it before. You realize when I put it in now. Let me break this line. You can see this range, vary the range. However, there's something I haven't shown you. There are other properties of these that I should probably show you. Let me show you one. The same way we're able to like create a button by using the button tag, you can also create a button using the input tag. So Sorry, let me break the line. You can see, but there's nothing inside this button, and there's no way for us to specify what the button is. That's when I'm going to introduce you to another property of input called value. So in value, you say click me, and you can see this, click me. Alright, another property I want to introduce you guys to is the okay, before I do that, let me try to install that extension we weren't able to install recently. You know, we are always like going to the browser and hitting refresh every time. It's kind of frustrating to do, so we're going to like try to install an extension. So go to the extension and type in I think live preview. I hope the network is back online. Alright then, I think the network is still off. Okay, so we'll keep trying that later on then. Alright, let's go back. Okay, so another property of inputs tag I want to show you is the minimum and maximum property. Look at this number. I can define a minimum number, let's say 100. So when I go back to the file and I click refresh and I come to the number and I try to try 22. Like you can see, I'm trying to check down 103. When I press down, it cannot let me go less than 100. And if I define a maximum of let's say I define a maximum of 105. Then I define 105. You can see it's not letting me go more than 105. But if I type it in, it will work anyway. Alright then. Okay, that's it on input. Let's move to the label tag. Now when you put an input, you don't just expect the user to like read the placeholder and understand what it is. You should add a label to your input. That way the user knows what your input is all about. So let's go back and add a label to this our input. Or better still, let's create a form. How about that? Let's create a form using everything we have learned so far. Let's create a form. So let's create a new HTML file called form.html. And then in this form.html, let's create the doc type, include the doc type, and then include the HTML file, your land, and then the head tag, and then the body tag. Alright then. Okay. So let's go ahead and open this form.html on our stuff. This form.html. There's nothing there yet, of course. So in our form, let's say let's use h2 and say please fill the form, or let's say tell us what you want, and let's put a short description. Sorry about that. Let's put a short description by telling the user to fill the form. Please fill the form below. So let's go back to our code, refresh it. So in the first instance, I want us to take the name of the user. Now, you know what we need to do is just put like input and then put text. Input as a text, and we come here and then it shows this box. There's no way for the user to know what we are asking him. Well, we can add a placeholder, of course. I've told them about the placeholder. And let's say EG, and then we come here and we have this. However, I still want us to like put something on top of that text. That's where the label tag comes to play. So on top of the input, you put a label tag. Now the label is asking us that who is this label for? You need to provide the ID of who it is for. So before we do that, we need to give this input guy an ID. So let's call him full name. So the label is for full name. So this label will be only for this guy called full name. Now have you seen the usefulness of the ID? So let's come back here and refresh. Sorry. Yeah. When you put the label, you need to say what the label will be saying. So full name. So come here. You can see now full name. So the user knows he should enter his full name. If you don't want it to be on the same line, remember, just break it. So full name, and then maybe we want something like maybe a matric number. Before we do that, first let's create the stuff. Input text. Let's call it matric. Put a space first. And then let's come here, create a label for matric number, and let's break the line. Awesome. So we have something like this. It's coming up here, so let's still break this line. We won't face this issue in CSS. So we have the full name, the matric number. Then we can go ahead and add a placeholder to the matric number style. So I think you understand what the label tag is now. Next image tag, we have discussed it. Next is underline tag. Let's say you want to underline something in your code. Let's go back to the index.html tag. Let's hide this. Click that to hide this. And then let's come in and say use the U tag for underline. Let's go back and load the other file first. It is the index.html file. So let's create the U tag. Create U, I am underlined. So you see it's an underlined text. So let's go back and then define another stuff. Now we have done the underline tag, the delete tag. This is a way of telling the user that text is deleted. Let me show you. This is no longer important. You see, it deletes it. Alright then. Ordered list, yes. What's the difference between an ordered list and an unordered list? I'm sure you guys have used bullets before in your Word document. Whenever you're typing maybe a letter or something like that. An ordered list is ordered like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. While an unordered list is just going to use bullets or any other thing you tell it to use. However, to define a list, you need to define the parent container, the parent tag, which in the case of ordered list is OL, in the case of unordered list is UL. And then you are going to include the list items called LI. It makes sense, list items. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's come here and say ordered list, and then list item. Mango, tomatoes, pepper. Let's call this onion so it makes sense. You can see 1, 2, 3. However, if we do the same thing and call it an unordered list, so let's say onions. Since they are the same thing, let me just copy it. You can see it used bullets instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and we'll talk about the breakline tag. Now let's move to building a table. I'm sure you guys have seen tables before on websites and so on. So let's go ahead and build a table. So I'm going to create a new HTML file for this, just to make sure our code is readable. It's going to be available on Monagrid GitHub. I'll show you shortly. So doc type, don't forget the very first thing. We include HTML, we include the head. Don't worry, I'll show you what goes inside the head soon. We are going to get there really soon. And you include the body. So let's create a table, right? Table. The first thing you need to do when you're creating a table is to create the table tag. Then, now let me tell you something. A table in the usual sense has rows and columns, right? It has the rows and it has the column and it has the columns. right? I mean, of course. Let me leave that. I want to show you something. Alright, we have used 44 minutes, but it's important. We have achieved some stuff. You see, a table in the normal sense has the row and the column, right? This is like the rows. This A B C D. This 1 2 3 4 5 6 are the rows. They are the horizontal guy, while these ones are the column. You can see the columns. However, tables in HTML are different. You can see now. However, in HTML, we imagine table as having rows, and these rows now have column. So instead of having something like that, we usually have something really different. Let me show you. In HTML, we imagine this table to just be the collection of all these rows, no columns, just rows. Now each row will now have its own column, like this. So that's how we define tables in HTML. Make it very unique. So you see, after writing the table tag, then we include the table row tag. TR is called table row, and then inside the table row tag we include the columns. Now let me explain this. The table tag, the table row tag, and then the columns. The columns can be of two types. It can be an heading tag, or it can be a normal tag. I'm sure you guys understand what I'm talking about. When you write a table, usually like a table like having something like this. Usually want to put something, maybe name, age, and then someone will come like Enoch, or something will come like Daniel, like 27, and Moses 22. Usually we prefer this guy, this age to be bold, right? This name to be bold. We like to make it different from other cells of the table. Each of these boxes are called cells. Now, to define this heading one called that is usually bold, we use the th. We use the th. What's it called? We use the th. The th tag. The th tag helps us know that it's a table heading. However, the td tag is just the table body or anything, every other thing. So let's go ahead and create a table. So come here, write the table stuff. Now create a table row, the first row. This is the very first row. Let's create an heading and let's call it name. And let's create another heading and let's call it age. Now let's go ahead and go back to our stuff and refresh. Oh, we're not yet. We have created a new file called table. So let's go ahead and find that table.html. You can see name, age. I'm sure you're thinking, is this a table? Don't worry, you will know very soon. Name, age, and let's go ahead and put DOB, date of birth. So date of, or let's just call it that DOB. So in the first one, let's create another row to represent me, or maybe Moses. Then table, the normal table tag, and then we have Moses. His age is 26, and his date of birth is 22/02 1998. And then go ahead and go back there and refresh, and we have this. You can see name, Moses, age, 26, and everything. I'm sure you're probably wondering that is this a table? It doesn't really have like borders and everything. Don't worry, when we get to CSS, we're going to deal with borders and all those things so you can understand it better. But this is how a table looks like fundamentally. Alright, yeah. Now I'm going to take you through tags that are inside the head tag. I'm sure you have been wondering what is inside the head tag. The first one we'll be talking about is the title tag. Like I said, the tags that are inside the head tag are very important. They tell the browser how to build your website. However, they are not usually shown on the web page. So look at this place here. Look at the top left corner of my browser. You can see it's calling it table.html. But when you go to something like Jumia.com, let's go to Jumia.com. You can see it's showing Jumia Nigeria online shopping something. But how do we make it show what we want it to show, right? That's when we come to the first thing in our head tag called title. There's a tag called title. So write the title tag and say what you want. So our first table. So go back to your file and click refresh. You can see it has changed to our first table. So that's what the title tag is for. You can add that for other stuff too. Like for our form now, let's say title. Our first form. Alright then. This is cool. Okay, so we have dealt with the title tag. Next, the style tag. Style is used to add CSS to your file. Okay. We are not doing CSS yet, but let me see. Okay, let me go ahead and do a little bit of CSS there. In the style tag, I want to write I want to style this your table H to like margin. Let's add a margin to them of 10 pixels. So let's go ahead and go back to the stuff. Okay, yeah. Okay. Alright, let's make it a padding. Let's use bigger, so it makes our table clearer. Okay. Well, I'm not supposed to go into all this, but just because of you guys, so you can solid 1px. Okay, that's just for the th. Let's do the same thing for the td. Alright, so it's starting to look more of a table, right? Don't worry, we're not doing CSS just yet. Another thing we are going to consider is the link tag. The link tag is used to link a file to another file, to link your particular file to another file. You might need to link your file to a CSS file. So this CSS stuff, they say, now let me tell you something about the style tag. While some people use the style tag, most developers don't use it, because how will you be writing CSS instead of an HTML file? It's good, okay, if you want to save space you can do it, but people usually prefer to create a CSS file and then link to that file. So let me show you. When you say link, so you just put like index.css, but our index.css doesn't yet exist, so that won't work. It doesn't exist, unable to open, it doesn't really exist, so you can't really open it. Now let me tell you something about the link tag. The link tag, you need to provide two things: the relationship and the href. The relationship specifies the relationship between your current file and the file you are linking to. If the you know what, for you guys, let me create a CSS file. I'm not supposed to do that, so let me just create a CSS file, index.css. So create a CSS file and copy our code back there, and then maybe I remove this. You know this thing takes effect right now. So if I remove it and I remove the link stuff too, and then I go back to the code, you see it's no longer there. But if I link the CSS file to our HTML file, it will work. So link, the relationship between this CSS file and our HTML file is that it is a style sheet. Now let me locate our CSS file. There it is. So let's come back here and click refresh. You see it works quite fine. Alright then, I hope you understand the link concept now. Alright then, the next one we want to talk about is the meta tag. The meta tag is used to like provide metadata about your website. You can provide the chart set of your website, like the encoding of your website. Our website is encoded in our HTML file is encoded in UTF-8. Let me show you. Look at the bottom right part of your stuff, you see the encoding is UTF-8. And description, you can also include the description. So let's go ahead and do that. Meta charset UTF-8. Come back here. Let's add a title. And then let's add sorry, what are we trying to add again? A meta tag, yeah. We're going to add a charset UTF-8. So let's go ahead and open this index.html file. Alright then, it's good. By default now it's UTF-8, so putting UTF-8 doesn't really have much effect. Let's add another meta tag, description, so people understand. If I put my stuff over stuff here, it's showing local shared file. So let's add a description and meta tag content description. Content, the name, description, and the content, my food stuff. So name, sorry. Why are we doing this? Why are we adding this? It doesn't really add to our website now. Like, it's not even going to show to the user. But why are we adding it? Well, we're adding it because of Google. When you search for Google, like you search for something on Google, like let's say you search for best company, or let's say you search for Dangote. Now, how Dangote Cement is able to show you all this stuff is just based on your description. All those meta tags is what Google is going to read to show you like the right set of things you need to see. So let me test our luck again with this extension that we're trying to download. Okay, still no progress on that. Alright, so let's move on. Then it's the keyword part. What do you need keyword for? For example, you need to include keywords in your stuff. Like the keywords I've added to this website is rice, dodo, apple. Let me go ahead and do that. Let's say our website is about coding, so we can add something like meta keyword. Meta name keywords. And then content, code, dev. So when you go on Google and you search for something like code, how to dev, your website might come up because of those keywords. So all these things are called search engine optimization. So let's go ahead and author is a way of telling who developed the website, and then the viewport is a way of telling the size of the website. And the final tag we'll be talking about today is the script tag. The script tag allows you to include HTML in your file. Let me show you. So allows you to include JavaScript in your file, not HTML. Now we created a button, right? A button, this click me button. But when we click it, it doesn't do anything. But we can make it do something using JavaScript. So let me go ahead and locate the click me button. Let me go ahead and locate the click me button. Where is it? Okay, let's use this I am a button. This I am a button, right? So let's make it do something when we click it. So let's go to the script. Let's include a script. And in that script, let's include a function. Right, let's call it click. So window.alert. Clicked. Don't worry, we'll do JavaScript later on. So we'll go ahead and tell this button that a property called onClick. tell him to like execute the function called click. Alright then, so let's go back to our file, refresh, and sorry, I don't think I'm supposed to include. Okay. Oh yes, I think I'm supposed to include the script tag somewhere around here. Alright. Alright, we'll get to why it's not working shortly. But the script tag is used to write in JavaScript in your HTML code. But still, I think I should just be able to like document dot okay. Okay. So the script tag is used to write JavaScript into your code. We won't get into that right now. Usually, I prefer to write the JavaScript in a separate file and not in this particular file. Okay, no harm in just trying to like show you that index.js. That's how you create a JavaScript file. Let's create our function again. Click and then window.alert. And then we have this. So instead of including the script tag and then saying this is how you put a comment in a JavaScript file. So instead of including the script tag there, we can just include our script tag directly to the code. And then that will be index.js, and then our button here is going to like have click. So let's see how that goes. I think for some reason the Chrome browser is blocking script execution. We'll fix that. Alright. Yeah, we have dealt with the scripts, and yeah, I've given an example of this, how to link a script to your file. I don't think you're going to need a closing tag for. Oh yeah, sorry, you need a closing tag for that. That's an error on my part. So you need a closing tag for that. So yeah, I think that is all for now, and this is where we're going to close it. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Daniel, well, out.